Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't want to start it like that. What the fuck?
Sup, nerds? Does that
Welcome.
work?
That works. I love it. Welcome back to the Hollywood Persona podcast. I am here with my friend Eric Holmes. Eric Holmes, you can listen to him on now it's the Cinematics podcast. Um,
Yep.
when I started listening back in the day, it was the Find Your Film podcast, but we abandoned that recently, which is cool because I always feel like there's like a it's like the Marvel like cinematics universe for me. Like
Yeah.
cinematics universe.
Yeah,
You get
except we don't get old.
it? Right, exactly. Exactly. You just stay the same. Like you wait, you don't like Marvel? Wait.
No, I wouldn't say well, I stopped watching Disney for a
I
while
know.
because of the Bob Chapek thing.
Yeah.
But hey, Marvel, Disney got rid of Bob Chapek.
Did they
Huzzah.
really?
Yeah, the Bob Iger came back and
Oh, yes, I
they
knew
gave
that.
Bob Chapek they kicked him to the curb, which quite honestly they should have done that like
Yeah, they
probably
should
about a
have.
year ago after that whole Florida thing.
Yeah, and like I don't understand what happened with their newest movie, The Strange World. Like it got so buried, and I wonder if that's because of the transition. And it has a gay lead, and people are. It worries me, right? Because I'm
It's
like,
woke. It's
yeah,
woke.
I
Everything's
can't.
woke.
Oh, I can't.
Mitch, woke. Whatever will we do?
Stop!
These
I hate that.
snowflakes, they keep doing this woke stuff. We can't deal with it.
You are using like all my trigger words like right now. Snowflake and woke. I like we had a an anchor here in Canada, and he in one sentence he lost me by using the word woke and then using the word sheep like right after it. Like the liberals
What's
like
worse? Sheeple.
sheeple, right? And it's oh, and on the anyways, maybe I'm getting off track, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, so the train went off the rails. Let's just ride it out till it
Yeah,
stops.
Eric and I have been talking like for 25 minutes before this or 20 minutes or whatever. So, and I was like, at some point I should just start recording our ramblings. But, oh shit, what was I just saying?
We were talking about wokeness and
Yes.
how the snowflakes. And isn't it weird that some people are like, oh, snowflake, this and that, and it's like, oh, I'm the snowflake.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you want to make a gay wedding cake? Why you melting there, snowflake? What's
Yeah,
wrong?
you're gonna cry about having to make a wedding cake with two men on the top, but we're the snowflakes. Thank you. Um, but what I was going to say, wow, I immediately start an episode and I'm just my brain is just destroyed. I was listening to the Film Vault today and Avery doing a Tucker Carlson impression.
Oh, that was funny.
It made my day. So I am forever indebted to Avery. That just made me laugh so hard because I hate that man with such a passion. And
Why do you hate Avery with such a passion? He seems like such a nice guy.
well, Avery he hates women, right? So
Oh yeah.
no, I Eric and I are both listeners of the Film Vault. Obviously, I am a listener of the Film Vault. I've been quote unquote working for them for several years now, and I love them. So go listen to that podcast instead of this one because this one is probably going to be terrible. Just
No, go
kidding.
listen to the film vault after this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
And
this podcast has the Mitch Burns on it.
oh my god.
And if you don't know what's up, then you don't know what's up and you need to get informed.
I love that you are always Eric, and if you guys listen to the Cinematics podcast, which I highly suggest you do, I love all the guys there; they're great. Uh, so go listen. Greg's Siravasti,
Sure as a Bosty.
Sarir. You know what? I had it before, and
It's fine.
um, I've had like two beers now, and which isn't a lot for me, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying. And Bruce Perky, I love their podcast. I've been listening to it like crazy. It was my number 3 on my Spotify Wrapped.
Woohoo!
So yeah, which I was like really excited about. Right up there with Andrew watches movies and Jason Kleberg's, and I love our
Yeah.
little Cinematics universe. And you can join our Facebook page, not mine, but Greg's, and we all discuss in
I
there. It's
mean,
great.
it kind of is yours. It's kind of all of ours.
It's
That's sort of
yeah,
the thing, right?
I love it. It's like a little community, and like even Anderson and I have emailed back and forth about the different people and branches and the big community and family that we are. But I needed Mr. Holmes, not Sherlock, but I needed Mr. Holmes on here to help me discuss a movie that I have no one else to discuss it with. And
I'm glad I was that high on the list. There's no one else will get
well,
Eric,
I
but I
almost got
get
my mom to watch it, and then her and I were just going to discuss it. But you know what? You were the second best thing. So
hey, I'm
no,
just glad to be in the conversation, however that works.
there was like, if I could get Trump, I mean, that'd be great. Um, actually,
Don't say that. Don't say that. The snowflakes, man.
Yeah, I know.
Snowflakes and woke culture, man.
I'm going to turn off a lot of people. Um, so we are going to discuss Emancipation, directed by Antoine Fuqua. I
Yep.
thought I was really good at pronouncing names until I started podcasting.
Yeah.
So it is a movie starring Will Smith. I'm sure you've heard of it. It is
Mhm.
called so Will Smith, Ben Foster. The rest of the names I might butcher, but Charmaine Bingwa, Gilbert Ower, Stephen Ogg, Grant Harvey, Mustafa Shakir, um, and Michael Luoy. So I really tried on all those names. I apologize.
Nailed it. Every
Yeah,
one of them.
thank you. Thank you. Well, now we know. Um, it is a true story about a runaway slave who. So the character's name is Peter, but that's not the. It's a true story, and that's not the actual character's name. The character's real name was Will. No, I almost said
Wasn't it
Will Smith.
George?
It was
Was it?
Gordon. Yeah, you're close.
Oh,
So
Gordon. All right.
yeah. So they hear about Abraham Lincoln freeing the slaves, and he decides to do something about it. Essentially, um, wait, hold on. No, he doesn't describe. So anyway, so he escapes, but now I just can't remember what happens with his wife again. Why does he leave his wife?
I believe he was sold and she was
Yes.
not.
Right, exactly. Apologies. I
Yeah.
it's been a couple days since I've seen it, but
Well, as we talk about the movie later on, it makes sense why maybe we
yeah.
forgot sometimes.
Yeah, I and okay, well, we'll get in. Yeah, so it's a true story, which is interesting, and we don't really know how true it was, but Apple acquired this movie. They paid 130 million dollars for it, which
Damn.
is which is a lot of money. And it's essentially based on a man whose picture was circulated throughout the world and really brought a light to the American slave trade. And it's based in Louisiana in the 1860s. Essentially, Will Smith's character, who is based on a man named Gordon, his name in the movie is Peter, and he, through a series of events, escapes his captors. And the series of it almost feels like a spoiler to say that he escapes.
Not really, because that happens pretty early on.
It does, but there's so much lead up. There's
Yeah.
not so much, but there's like a good amount of lead up, and how it happens is interesting.
But I mean
Um,
that's like watching Die Hard and go, is it a spoiler to say that terrorists came into the party? And it's like, no, that's the point of
100%.
the movie.
Okay, yeah. Listen, Eric is more of a movie expert than I am, and watch as he denies that right now.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. No, he
I,
was
I
serious.
I was about to say you're too woke and I'm about to leave. I can't handle the wokeness.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna take that joke. Hold on.
mhm.
Woke. Okay, cool. That joke's going out.
I better pull it
we
back.
won't bring it back.
So She said my favorite movie of the year. So directed by Antoine Fuqua, you will probably know him from movies such as his biggest movie is Training Day, which is literally, and you're gonna make fun of me for this, the only movie of his that I have not seen
Oh, the
yet.
only one you have not seen?
The only one I have not
Well,
seen it.
see, I'm not that guy. If you haven't seen it, I get excited for you. It's like you get to watch Training Day for the first time. You
Yeah,
lucky
and
SOB. That's awesome.
I am really excited because I love Denzel. Who doesn't love Denzel? So,
Oh yeah, he's great.
but I've seen Tears of the Sun, King Arthur, Shooter, Southpaw. I actually kind of liked more than most people. Olympus Has
Yeah,
Fallen.
you're in good company with that. I love
Okay.
Southpaw. That was written by Kurt Sutter, who wrote Sons of Anarchy.
Oh shit, eh?
He was like the
Oh,
executive producer of Sons of Anarchy. So when that
okay.
came out shortly after Sons of Anarchy ended, and so when he was coming out with Southpaw, I'm like, oh man, I'm
Yeah.
so. And it wasn't
Okay.
as good as Sons of
No,
Anarchy, but it's still pretty good. I dug it. So
I
yeah,
like.
you're not gonna get any blowback for liking South Park
Okay.
from me. Southpaw from
South
me.
South Park. Um.
South Park's pretty
So
good too.
I like. I'm not a big South Park fan. I tried when I was a kid,
Yeah,
but so and I just kind of I wasn't as cool as all my friends who like really liked it. So
yeah.
I always felt like I couldn't get on board with South Park, but I tried.
I get it. You're too woke. No, damn it! I said I was going to leave that joke. I brought it back. I
I
did
love
not
Family
mean to.
Guy.
Yeah, well, Family Guy's good.
Yeah, make fun of me for that. And then more recently, Fuqua has done The Equalizer and its sequel, which I didn't
The
see.
Sequelizer,
The
and
sequel.
the Three Equalizer is coming out soon.
Oh, shut up! No, thank you. I was like, and I love Denzel, so I feel bad, but
Yeah,
Denzel is he.
Equalizer was pretty good.
Yeah.
The first one especially, like there was that scene where he's in the room, that the rich guy's room or whatever.
Oh wait, the scene when he's
I,
in a room. Wow.
Well, no, he's in like
Just kidding.
the rich guy's room or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll know the scene when I say the thing,
Okay. Okay.
but there's a point where like the rich guy is like basically telling um uh Denzel to F off, and
Oh
then
yeah.
Denzel turns around, locks the door, and I'm like, oh, you made a big mistake, buddy. Denzel's about to F you up right now.
I mean, and like I love good action. Like action films can sell me pretty quickly. Like we were just talking about Bullet Train and how I
Yeah,
felt like one of the few in kind of our circle who didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Or opposite, yeah. Like I really enjoyed it, but I feel like a lot of people didn't. But you know,
Yeah, but Bullet Train's like one of those like if you're in, you're gonna have a great time, and if
exactly.
you're not, then maybe not. But not
Yeah,
every movie's for everyone. So,
yeah.
but I definitely had some fun with Bullet Train.
Me too.
I just kind of took it at
It's face
took the
value.
movie on its own terms and just kind of kicked back and ate some popcorn. It's like, all right, Brad
Yeah.
Pitt's kicking ass. This is cool.
I usually can't do that. Like I'm not usually one to kick back and just enjoy it. Excuse me, but I have been more this year and I don't really know why. Like I am the one who made Andrew Martin watch Ambulance because
Oh,
I said I really enjoyed it. And then I just rewatched it recently and I'm like, I can't believe I talked Andrew Martin into watching this. Um So, Andrew, if you're listening, I apologize. And then Fuqua, did you see The Guilty?
yes, I did. I saw. So we watched the original,
Okay.
and I love that movie.
I haven't seen the
And then
original.
shortly after we watched the original, sorry about that. I've been having a few beers, but
Me too.
shortly after watching the original, that's about the time when the remake came out. Because I didn't see the
Oh,
original when it came out. I saw it like way late,
okay.
and the remake was coming out shortly after we watched the original.
Hmm.
I think it came out on Netflix. It's like, oh, Anton Fuqua's doing that. I love him.
Yeah.
And so I'll watch it. I don't know why you would remake the original, but they changed the ending a little bit, and I
Oh,
like what they did with the ending. It was
okay.
different, and I think I like them both equally, like
Oh,
both equally on their own terms. I would say if you watch the Jake Gyllenhaal, The Guilty, the Jake
Hmm.
Gyllenhaal one, Anton Fuqua one,
Hmm.
um, and if you've seen that and you like it, go watch the original because the original has a completely different ending, and it's just as good.
Okay, see, and I was just gonna skip the original because I felt like the remake, which I liked, I
Yeah.
felt like it kind of would have like the twist and everything, what kind of goes down.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. It so everything leading up to the end is about the same as the remake,
Hmm.
but the ending they go in a completely different direction in the remake than they do in the original. And both
Oh,
are, in my
okay.
opinion, both are equally awesome. But so if you haven't seen the original and you saw the
Okay.
remake, go back and watch the original,
I
and
will.
you're gonna watch it going, yep, saw it. But then you'll get to the end, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, damn, okay.
Okay. Okay, cool. And the original I think is Norway, like Swedish, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so
probably Europe somewhere.
yeah, and they can sometimes get a little darker sometimes in the States and
Actually, let me look that up.
yeah,
Guilty. IMDb.
I want to say Swedish or Norway or something, but I could be completely wrong. I just watched Troll on
Gustav
so
Mahler or Molier,
okay.
MO with the things on top, LLER.
Uh-huh.
Um,
That doesn't
the umlauts, that's what they're called.
yes,
Umlauts,
umlauts.
the dots.
It
But I
probably would have
don't know where he's from. Danish. There you go.
Danish.
2018 Danish
So
crime thriller written
Denmark,
by
okay.
Gustav Mahler.
Wait, are Danish and Denmark the same thing? Yes. Oh my god.
Don't
Um
ask me questions about that. I will have four answers for you.
okay, so Emancipation. The reason I really wanted to talk about it with somebody who has seen it and obviously someone knowledgeable like Mr. Eric Holmes is because I, as a film lover, I don't understand why I hated it so much.
Yeah.
and and why it pissed me off so much, and that's kind of why I wanted to have this conversation, is to try to figure that out. And I do like most of Fuqua's stuff, and I even like Shooter. Like I watched it when I was
Yeah.
pretty young, but so I'm trying to come to an understanding, and Emancipation was obviously trying to go for the awards, um, but I don't think it's going to get there. I I what I want to okay, so what I want to start with is, what accent was he doing?
I think that was African accent. It was real similar to like the. Did you watch The Woman King?
Yeah,
Black Panther. I guess they kind of had that accent too.
yeah,
So
like
it's probably
like Afrikaans, but
yeah. But I mean, this was early on, probably
mhm,
around the closer to the time of Woman King, I think.
yeah,
Black Panther, not at all that time because it's made up time and place. But the their accents were indicative of that time and period, I
yeah.
think.
I it
Not
sounded
by the way,
French,
I'm
but
not an accent expert, so
oh, you're not? Oh, that's why I had you on here.
oh well in that case, see ya.
Yeah.
Had fun.
So okay, so the does Will Smith's history now, you know, the Oscar thing, did
Yeah.
that affect your watch at all?
No. No,
No?
it's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And that's like off air we were talking about App Pupil and Bryan
Yes.
Singer.
Yes.
And Bryan Singer's he made some great movies.
I love X2, so
Oh me too.
yeah.
Love Valkyrie. I mean,
Yes.
anything that Christopher McQuarrie writes, I'm in.
Yes.
But he's a pretty bad person.
Yeah.
But sometimes bad people make good stuff. I
Yeah.
love Jeepers Creepers, and we don't need to get into what Victor Salva's done.
Eric and I had like a whole late night uh Facebook conversation about the whole Victor Salva
Yeah,
thing, and it went a lot deeper than I thought, but we don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like as far as like So if I'm willing to watch a Bryan Singer movie and I'm
Hmm.
willing to watch a Victor Salva movie, like Will Smith Slap, although it was
Hmm.
like not cool,
Yeah.
hardly the worst thing you could do.
No, and I think it just pissed me off because a lot of what came out after and the whole discussion about it, like it really hit home about how it felt for like a comic to like the whole like
Yeah.
Chris Rock talking about it, and then listening to I think it was Bill Burr on Conan's podcast. They kind of got into it, and it was just really interesting. But um, I think if Chris Rock can forgive him, I think we can all forgive him. You know,
Yeah.
but
I do understand the whole idea of like doing stand up. Like, oh,
yeah,
great. I'm gonna, like, the whole point is, look, people get offended by stand ups all the time.
yeah,
And depending on your style, stand like, look, Brian Regan's not going to offend anyone. He's
yeah.
not that kind of comic. He has a, and by the way, Brian Regan's fucking hilarious,
I don't know
effing
who that
hilarious.
is.
Sorry, it's a family show. I don't know if it's a
Yeah,
family show, but I'm
yeah.
pretending it
No,
is.
it's
But like, Brian Regan's not the he's not that kind of comedian that like someone like Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle is. He's just
yeah,
trying to be clever, silly, stupid,
yeah.
and get a laugh out of you, and he's great at that. Jim Gaffigan, same thing. Carrot
Hmm.
Top, people hate Carrot Top. I don't know why. Carrot Top has his own niche. Larry the
Yeah,
Cable Guy has his own
yeah,
niche, whatever. But you get comedians like Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock, they're going to get up, they're going to do their stand up, and
yeah,
then you watch the slap thing, and then I think the idea is that audiences think that, oh, this is cool, now I can do that, I'm going to
yeah.
stand up for what I think is wrong, just like Will Smith did. And by
Hmm.
the way, don't do that ever.
No,
Don't.
no. We
um
we
you,
discourage that.
yeah, and not only that, comedy clubs discourage that. You will get kicked out very quickly.
Yeah.
And by the way, definitely don't bring a gun. Dude, we got so many mass shootings as it is. We don't need you to
Oh
defend someone's
no.
uh you know oh, I'm going to defend you by shooting this comedian that said a joke. It's like, do their jokes. If you're going to go to comedy
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you're going to
Be
go to the comedy
prepared.
club, be prepared to get offended. If you
Yeah.
can't handle it, don't go. End of
Yeah.
story. Um,
Like I love Jimmy Carr, and he
yeah,
is like, he has done abortion jokes, and
yeah,
and he walks that line, and I think if yeah, like that's what comedy is, and
yeah.
you
Jimmy Carr could talk about murdering babies, and if
yeah,
he was right here, right now, and I asked him, "Do you really want to murder babies?" He would say yes, because that's the joke.
because
But
he's a
like, does he
comedian.
actually believe that? Probably not.
No,
Probably not.
no, exactly. So that was a little bit of a diatribe, but I mean,
Oh, there'll
that's
be
what
plenty more coming.
there'd be.
Strap in, strap in, strap on, whatever you want to do.
So I think like the problem is with Emancipation is in the description on IMDb is it's being described as like a historical action movie, and I think that's where you start to like blur the lines and piss people off.
Yeah,
Now, I guess like ultimately, did you enjoy the movie?
I did for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, where I kind of fell off,
Yeah.
because it started off kind of okay. Will Smith, he's a slave. He's getting separated from his family.
Yeah.
He breaks away from the slave encampment. There's like a whole uprising, and they all leave. A lot of them get shot, like trying to
Yeah.
run away.
Yeah.
But him and a couple guys get away, among other ones that we don't see throughout the movie. But
Exactly.
they run away, and it becomes a cat and mouse game between Will Smith, his two buddies, and Ben Foster and his two buddies.
Yeah.
They're trying to capture the
Yeah.
slaves. We'll say slaves. We don't need to use the words that they
Yeah.
use.
No.
But
They were pretty heavy on that, and
and actually they weren't, because like Django, they go heavy on that,
oh
but
yeah.
it's Tarantino.
Yeah.
This one they say boy a lot,
Boy. Yeah.
and then like variations on the N word. But
Yeah.
they didn't really lean into it, which at the time, given the time, you probably think that they would, but if you don't use it in a movie, like I'm not going to knock you points for that.
No, and
But
I
but
Ben Foster's character reminded me a lot of Paul Dano's character from 12 Years a Slave.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think he was kind of channeling that a little bit,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
liked it.
I think where this movie fell off for me was it was like oh, okay, we got slaves, he's running away, we got ourselves like an action movie. And when by the way, when I was watching it, I didn't know that it was based on, so if anyone doesn't know, you've probably seen the picture of the slave, and I believe on Wikipedia,
Hmm.
but the name was Whipped Pete
Yeah, because
or
the
Whipped Peter.
yeah,
And you've probably seen the picture of a black slave, a slave, American slave, with a bunch of
yeah,
whip marks, healed whip marks on his back. And
yeah,
it basically looks like a topographical map. It's really horrifying to look at.
yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't know that was about that person. I
No,
just thought it
okay.
was it said based on his true story. So I'm like,
Oh,
okay, cool. It's probably just about a slave, like kind of like Django Unchained, but like
hmm,
based on someone real. And
hmm,
so they get through the action part, and kind of, I like Will Smith. I think he's kind of a little over the top on this, but I was buying him as his character.
hmm,
And at certain points I kind of forgot it was Will Smith.
hmm.
I was just kind of buying into it. And then he gets to where he needs to get to,
Yeah,
and then they take the picture, and I'm like, oh, okay, oh, that's who this is about. I did, and
yeah,
then I had to pause the movie because I saw it on the screen. I had to pause the movie and then go check Wikipedia, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a biopic about this person.
yeah,
And then at that point on, it became a completely different movie, a movie
yeah,
that was taking itself like really seriously, which kind of you want to do in a movie about slavery, especially a biopic about slavery. But it was like night and day difference from what came before.
yeah,
Before it was like, oh, this is a slave action movie, gets away, yay, we get to root for him. And then at the end, it becomes almost like a Steven Spielberg movie where it's like, let's see how schmaltzy we can get. I'm like, oh, you're kind of losing me now.
yeah,
Like if it started off schmaltzy, I would have bought into it. But
yeah.
since it got there like way too late, I'm kind of like, kind of falling off now.
And
It got
where?
too woke for me, is what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Okay, for real, that's the last one.
No, no. I swear, I'm gonna just title this podcast like the woke episode. Um, but to me, like it feels like a movie like 12 Years a Slave kind of earned the emotion and everything because
Yeah.
it's very serious from the beginning, and I mean there's no levity, and there's no levity in this movie, but there's action. So
Well,
I don't.
I think 12 Years a Slave was a lot more focused on the
Yeah,
tone it was setting.
for
And
sure.
it didn't stray from that. Not that you need to. I mean,
No.
there's movies that start off in a certain way, and then they, Dust Till Dawn's a great example. The
Yeah.
Dust Till Dawn starts off as one movie, and it turns to a completely different movie.
Yeah.
But I think if Dust Till Dawn started off as it was, and then it turned into a uh trying to
Yeah.
get serious about slavery, it's like, we're really going to do this now? Like, you should have started off with that.
Yeah. And
And and even like Django Unchained, for example, like Django Unchained's like a great kind of counterpoint to Emancipation, because Django Unchained is also about slavery, but Quentin Tarantino is just really good at managing tone because he switches it up throughout the movie. So
yeah.
you never have, except for Dusk Till Dawn, but even when it does that hard turn, it's still within the same kind of it,
Yeah. There's
it's
levity and
so, yeah, so it still maintains that same kind of the we're still in the same kind of area,
universe. Yeah.
we're watching a fun gangster movie, now we're watching a fun vampire movie. We don't go from fun gangster movie to the trials and tribulations of the homeless and what it means to
Yeah.
become blah blah blah.
Yeah. And Tarantino's able to pull that emotion out of you even though he has a completely silly scene right before it,
Yeah.
or something right crazy over the top, and then it still feels grounded in reality. um not that Emancipation didn't. I i just i guess another issue I had was, and obviously, like, I don't think I should have this opinion because obviously I do not know this man's story, but there's a lot in here that seems far-fetched to a degree. And
Maybe a scene with the alligator.
yeah, yeah. There's a good amount of like alligator stuff and swamp stuff and it just, I'm like, well, how true is that? And I guess I don't know. Like, I'm a big animal person. Like, I've watched a lot of animal documentaries, but I don't necessarily know how an alligator would act in that situation. But
Alligator would have eaten him, and that would have been the end of it.
yeah, yeah.
At least as represented in that movie,
Okay,
he would not have walked away from that.
that's my thought. Like, because alligator was doing the whole twist thing that they do,
Yeah,
and it was well
that's his death
shot. Like,
sentence.
yeah, like the movie was actually like well shot, and there were some cool drone shots I really liked, and Louisiana is, like, from someone who doesn't know the states that well, Louisiana to me seems really beautiful
Yeah,
and interesting, and I'd almost love to visit. I don't know what your relationship with Louisiana is, but
I'd never been there, but I think it looks good on film for sure.
it does. And so,
I kind of wish it was like full color.
okay, so, and what were they doing there? I don't, like, there was a little bit of color. Is that
So they like desaturate it heavily,
hmm
and like the a little bit of green comes out here and there.
hmm I found that
I
odd.
I think it looked cool. Um, I
Hmm.
don't, it might just have been a stylistic choice. I don't think it's much more than that.
I just,
Um,
like, I was expecting it like black and white, and then all of a sudden, like, halfway through or a little bit, I started to notice the color, and I didn't.
yeah,
I was like, oh, and like a little bit of reds, kind of, and it was interesting, but it took my brain a minute to
yeah.
recognize it.
I think maybe to get to the heart of everything is where I talk about the writer, Bill
Okay,
Collage,
yeah.
Collage, maybe.
I don't know the name, so
Well, so just to go through his IMDb, he did Accepted, the comedy Accepted, Tower Heist, Exodus, Gods and Kings, Transported, Refueled, Allegiant, Assassin's Creed, and then Emancipation, and a couple things in between.
okay.
But he's his writing, at least with the movies I've seen, like I like Tower Heist, I liked Accepted, but
I f-
Exodus, Gods and Kings was like a story where like, and that
mm,
was a Ridley Scott movie, and they tried to
hmm
take that seriously, and just wasn't there. I wonder, and actually, I kind of almost hesitate to say this out loud, but I will because I'm not woke, and that's what I do. But I hesitate to say this out loud because sometimes um screenwriters will write a script that if it's done right, shot the way it's written,
hmm
sometimes it becomes brilliant. And sometimes directors come in, they shoot a screenplay, and they maybe make small changes, not knowing that, look, when you're writing a screenplay, if I wrote this thing, it was for a reason. I didn't write a bit of dialogue, or I didn't write that action line for my
yeah.
health. I wrote it because it made sense with, well, could have been that Antoine Fuqua uh, didn't shoot it properly, but his past movies, some of them I liked, some of them I didn't. I wonder if the
Hmm.
maybe the screenplay looked like it was more important than it was, or looked like it was more important than I thought it was.
Yeah,
So
and
it didn't quite get past the finish line, so to speak.
yeah. Yeah,
And
I can see that. I mean, I guess, and then do we have a problem with Mr. Bill Collage being a white man? I mean, I know I
I don't, because Quentin Tarantino's a white man. He made a
yeah,
good slave
that's
movie,
true.
but it was a completely different, different style of that.
Exactly.
I think one of the hallmarks of a great writer is empathy.
Mhm.
You know, you can be a man and write a great woman character.
Mhm.
Lots of people have done that.
Yeah.
Um, you can be a woman, write a great male character. Like
Yeah.
you can be a non-trans person, write a great trans character.
Yeah.
But what you need is the empathy
Yeah.
and to understand who it is you're writing about. Now, there's people that try to do that,
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to write the story, and they just don't understand it. So when they write it, it comes off as false, or at the very
Yeah.
least. And again, I don't read these screenplays all the time. I try to read a lot of screenplays, but I don't get to
Mhm.
watch every screenplay for every movie I see.
No.
It could very well be that the screenplay is brilliant, and then the director or producers kind of go in a different direction, which kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
But I don't. I'm not gonna begrudge Bill College for being a white
No.
guy writing a movie about slavery. But I just don't think this one works, and I think it's a maybe a tone issue.
Yeah.
And
That's my main thing.
I don't know if that has to do with putting the movie together, or if that started the screenplay, because I
Yeah.
haven't read the screenplay, so it'd be unfair for me to. But I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility.
Yeah. And so can we pause while you go and read the entire screenplay and then we'll come back
Yep,
to it?
I'll
Okay.
be right back.
um
And we're back. I read the whole thing.
perfect.
Turns
Uh,
out the screenplay was perfect. Nothing wrong with it.
so it's Fuqua's fault. We have it. We have it on recording.
No,
Um
I think this is like an example of like a movie whose heart was in the right place.
yeah.
They just didn't reach what they were going for one reason or another. That
Yeah.
said, I still kind of like the movie. It
Yeah.
had some good stuff in it, especially the first half. Will Smith, I have no problems with him, slap or no slap.
Yeah.
You know, he was definitely kind of hamming it up in this.
Yeah.
Um, the
Where
weird thing is that Tarantino wanted him in Django Unchained. He said no.
yep.
So what does that say about Will Smith? They said no to Django and said yes to this.
And I wonder if that is a little bit like he because obviously Will Smith has changed gears in the last few years and like I found his performance in King Richard to be a lot more subtle than Emancipation. Like he was really into the character and
Mhm.
in King Richard, right? And whereas this one I felt him like working more.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, it's a great performance, and I couldn't pull it off. I
Yeah.
think I
I,
think
I
maybe
wouldn't, real quick, just
yeah,
the elephant in the room. I wouldn't expect Will Smith to be at the Oscars, whether the slap happened or not. I don't think this is the one that's
no,
going to bring him to the Oscars.
no,
Not, I mean, I did enjoy his performance. I thought it was good, but this would, or actually, maybe it would have been. Maybe this would be like the Oscars are like, this is an important movie about slavery. So, but
yeah.
yeah, maybe not.
I'm really like it's just we will never know unless there's an alternate universe. We will never know what this how this movie would have been received pre-slap, you know?
Yeah.
It's just interesting like um I don't know. Well, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll never
yeah.
know.
Pre slap, I'm guessing that people would have liked it.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's a weird thing. I don't think the slap really affected him that much.
mhm,
I'm sure it affected him, but like we mentioned earlier, it's not the worst thing that a human
no,
could have done to another human. Not cool, but certainly
no,
not.
no.
Hollywood's had a history of way worse shit happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. It has like a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, but
That seems low.
it does seem low. But and then the audiences have given it 91%.
That's way
So
too high. I
yeah.
would go like a 69% is about perfect for this movie.
Mm. So it took you that long into my podcast to say the number is 69.
Well, you're like way too woke, so I don't want to
Oh my
jump
god.
in with that.
I
Okay,
actually
that's the last one. For real, that's the last.
yeah, I'm so woke that I had to look up the meaning of 69. Like, you uh
Yeah, it's
oh
the number
man.
after 68
Yeah,
before 70.
oh my god, I hope my mom doesn't listen to this and then has to look up what 69
Hi,
means.
Mrs. Mom. Hi,
Oh
Mrs.
my
Burns.
god.
Is it
Mrs.
Mrs.
Burns.
Burns?
Yes, it is. Um, so yeah, like I guess I don't have a ton more to say on it. I think I'm like just a few degrees colder on this movie than you are, and I definitely understand why it would resonate for someone. Like, I absolutely love 12 Years a Slave,
Yeah.
and like I would rewatch it tomorrow, and I know that's probably weird because I know one podcast I used to listen to, like, it was like a chore for them to watch, but like for me it's such masterful art
Yeah.
and the acting and everything, and like I would watch it tomorrow, whereas this one like didn't hit me the same way. And I maybe I shouldn't be comparing it to 12 Years a Slave. It should be its own thing, but
Yeah.
it's right
And
there.
actually, 12 Years a Slave, I actually don't want to watch again, but that's because the movie's so effective. It's like hard to watch.
It is,
Um,
yeah.
and call me a puss or a set of balls, whichever one. But
No,
yeah,
it's
12 Years a Slave is a really good movie. And actually, when 12 Years a Slave came out, I was like, oh, this fucking movie. Like, I was ready to hate it just because,
yeah.
like, it seemed like Oscar baity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw it and I was like, no, this movie's really good.
Yeah.
This movie, at least the second half, feels like they're trying to win Oscars. And I think that's kind of what turned me off
Mm-hmm.
in the second half. First half I was fine with. It was definitely slave porn. Um,
Yeah.
but it was a good cat and mouse game. It was entertaining. Don't know, kind of on the level of Django. Not, I would have liked to see Will Smith kill some more white people. That
Yeah.
would have been awesome.
There's
But
a
but
sorry.
then yeah, after like all the um you know action stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the last half turned into Oscar bait all of a sudden. I'm like, stop it. Don't
And
stop trying to win gold.
yeah, exactly. There's a scene near the end that kind of almost like, I think Will Smith's acting was so good that it almost got me emotionally, and it kind of did. And then there's one, and I don't know if you remember it, but there's a speech in the middle that Ben Foster gives, and
Oh yeah.
it's scarily relevant to today. And I know I sound extremely woke saying that.
Of course you do. That's
Yeah,
why I'm about to leave right now.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
too
You're just gonna slam the laptop shut. Um, but so it has a lot going for it. I'm glad I could discuss it with you and
yeah.
kind of understand.
I, I think as far as like the Rotten Tomato score, and by the way, that's that proves nothing,
No,
obviously.
no, of course
But
not.
I do like that, like the critics score so low and the audience score so high. Not that critics are going to hate it and the audience will love it,
Yeah.
but I think that says something about just people going into Emancipation. I think certain people are going
Hmm.
to go into Emancipation. And look, if you're listening to us and you're getting the bar set real low, that's the best way to
Oh
get
yeah,
into this.
that's the best way to go into every movie.
Well, yeah, yeah. You go into Emancipation, go, man, they were talking shit on Emancipation. Fuck this
Exactly.
movie. And then they'll
Yeah.
put it on and go, what the hell is Mitch and Eric talking about? This movie's awesome. And
Yeah.
hey, great. That
Yeah.
that I mean that's what you want, right? Um,
And you want every movie to be good.
yeah. And then I think some people are gonna watch, maybe they heard someone thought it was awesome. And it's like, oh, Emancipation is gonna be so good, and they're gonna watch it, and they'll probably be like us, where it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
starting off all right, or hell, maybe they like the second half better than the first half. Maybe the different, as Greg says, different horses for different courses. People like different things. Nothing wrong with that.
See all
But
oh,
this is just two people's opinion
two people's
on a
opinion.
movie. that we had nothing to do with. They put it out. They put all the energy and time, energy.
I
Bill
know.
College wrote a great script. Antoine Fuqua directed the hell out of it. Will
Yeah.
Smith was like, I'll stop slapping people for 5 seconds. Ben Foster jumps around. And they made this movie and they took some time and they put it out.
Yeah.
And you know what? They made a better movie than I ever have. So
Yep.
good on them.
Exactly.
And actually, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't hate it
No,
at
I
all.
didn't either.
I just kind of, there's, like with most movies, like you kind of see things in it where it's like, oh, you could have done this a little better,
Yeah.
like, but at the same time, like they didn't. They made the
No.
movie that they did,
Yep.
and I like some of it.
Okay.
Overall,
See,
I mean, 69%, not bad. That's a pretty good score, I think.
I don't think anybody said that except for you. Oh, that's your okay. No, oh
It could be
God.
70, it could be 60, 68.
Yeah,
I'm going like right down the
I'm gonna go
middle.
with 68. Do you know
That sounds good.
it's underneath IMDb as a psychological thriller?
No, it's not.
That's what it says.
Maybe like in like a um maybe like
Huh.
technically with air quotes, but
Huh.
no, I'm not getting psychological thriller from this like on any measure.
No. Interesting. Well, okay, Eric, thank you so much for jumping on. I know you're a busy guy and you literally just came from another podcast, so
Yeah.
thank you for your time.
And
And
also you're way too woke for me, so I gotta get out of here. I
yeah, and
cannot stand to look at you and listen to your
yeah,
wokeness.
you'll never be back. You'll never listen to even the film vault again because I'm somewhat associated with it. You're probably gonna
I'm
text Anderson. Yeah, I get it. I
if
get it.
you're listening to this podcast, he is way too woke.
Yeah,
Unsubscribe now.
100%. No,
That
100%.
no, no, don't do that.
Oh.
Subscribe again. And then tell your friends to subscribe. It's a great podcast.
Perfect. Where can people find Eric Holmes?
Um, Mostly in Colorado Springs, but sometimes I go other places. If you're in a party, just email me at hamslime@gmail.com. You can send me all sorts of dick pics, Dick Cavett, Dick Miller. Like I'm good with all of them.
You stole
Wiener
that
pics
from
and Anthony Wiener pics. You can
Anthony
send me
Weiner
those.
picks.
Hot dogs, sausages. You can send me those. Yeah, you can
Oh
send
my
me whatever you
god.
want at hamslime@gmail.com. Or I also do a podcast called Cinemaddicts.
What?
And yeah, with Greg Scherzavasi and Bruce
Yeah.
Perky and
Oh my
sometimes
god.
Anderson Cowan. So it's
That's
pretty fun.
that's crazy. Yeah, so you can find that wherever podcasts are podcasted. I
Any
listen to it
place
on
podcasts are
Spotify.
sold.
Yeah, any case, that's what I always thought people should say, but apparently they don't. So, okay. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You can find me at the Hollywood Persona on Instagram and Facebook, and Mitchy Daily on Twitter and Letterboxd. So, thank you everyone for listening. Any last words, Eric, about how woke I am?
No, you know what? You're just awake enough. You're the perfect amount of awake.
I'm ending it on that
You're
note.
not woke. You've been awakened.
Hold on. Hold on. How do I?